Today, we are discussing a very important topic, and that is inner work. Because inner work is the key to an abundant life. Inner work changes your life in so many ways. And you're no longer operating in this world unconsciously, just following the norm and society blindly. Because when you do inner work, you stand in who you truly are, and you move differently. You choose differently. You think differently when you've gone in and done a lot of the healing that you need. So today we're going to discuss 3 types of inner work that will change your life, and not temporarily. It changes you for the rest of your life in a way that most things can't. So let's get started. The truth is, inner work is not for the weak, but it's one of those things that when you start to do inner work and you give yourself the opportunity to get to know yourself better, your life really and truly does change. And you will never go back. That's the beauty of it. You don't go back. And you don't accept bullshit that you used to. That's when you start to set boundaries. That's when you use discernment differently. And you go through life solid in who you are. And not listening to what people say about you or believing their definition of you. Because when you're rooted in your truth and you know yourself inside out because you took that time to do the inner work, nobody can tell you anything. When you do inner work, you're not looking for external validation anymore. You're not looking for people's approval of you. And there's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of peace and freedom in that. And that's how you want to live your life. No longer being swayed and influenced by external factors and things outside of you. The first place you want to start your inner work is with inner child work, where you go back to your younger self, the formative years of yourself. Because none of us are exempt from inner child wounds that we have. We all have some sort of abandonment wounds, rejection wounds, and things that we've experienced in our childhood that we never truly took a look at or healed. Those carry out through your whole life. They don't just go away. Even if you don't feel it for many, many years of your life, those wounds are still within you. And the thing is that you're moving throughout life with those wounds, affecting your decisions. And that goes with everything. Your confidence, your self-worth, the relationships you choose, what you think of the world, what you think of yourself. I mean, these are critical things that are all affected by what happened to us in our childhood. And that has a lot to do with conditioning, the way we were raised, what we were taught in school. A lot of the things don't even align with who we are or our truth. But we take that in and it becomes us. But the thing with inner child work is that you get a second chance. You get a second chance to go back and heal the things that you were never able to heal. The wounds that you didn't even know that were there. So regardless of your age, there comes a point when you need to start to reparent yourself, meaning that you do those things and you give yourself the things that you didn't get as a child, perhaps from your parents, your caregivers, your family, whoever it is that you grew up with. And you give it the correct parenting and love that you never got. And that looks like self-love. That looks like self-compassion. And that looks like really being there for yourself, regardless of what you're going through, what your life looks like, in a way that nobody ever did. It's almost like you go back and rescue your younger self. And remember, this type of work happens in layers. You don't just do inner child work and then it's done. No, you'll revisit lessons and traumas and triggers that you experienced in your childhood just to heal them a little bit more each time. My inner child journey actually started after a very toxic relationship because I didn't understand my attachment style. I didn't understand why I wanted and desired a love that was toxic, that wasn't even good for me. I had to really connect the dots and understand where that even came from. So I was almost forced to do that inner child work. And boy, did that change my life. That really allowed me to see myself, my patterns and my behaviors, and really understand where they stemmed from. You know how important that is? Because if you don't, and that goes unchecked, you'll just be operating in this world. It's like the blind leading the blind and unconsciously doing things without even knowing why. So it's such a good way to truly understand you, your true essence, and not what you've been taught or told or conditioned to be like. And it breaks you free out of a shell, out of something that was never really yours. And do you know how freeing that is? I remember I had seen a therapist for inner child work where I didn't even know what an inner child was. And she told me to have a conversation with younger me. And it was so emotional, asking me questions about what she needs, what was hurting her, who wasn't good to her. And having a conversation with you is weird and awkward, perhaps, but that was life-changing for me because I understood there were parts of me that were ignored for so long. And I understood how much that affected me. A great way to start is looking at a picture of yourself when you were younger and talking to that little girl or boy and really connecting with yourself in that way. It could be emotional, but it's so powerful because you will see the innocence and perhaps your life will flash before your eyes. But having that by you and maybe keeping it around on your desk, wherever you can see it often, just as a reminder that you're going to show up for yourself. You're going to love yourself in a way that nobody ever did or you never have. And lead with that throughout your life, putting yourself first, making sure you don't abandon yourself now. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I look at pictures of when I was a child or some of the years of my life where it's so obvious the light was dim inside me and I just don't look happy and alive. And it makes me really sad. Accepting everything that happened, understanding that that was what you knew. You didn't know any better. You were innocent. And so it really is a full circle exercise to do that inner child work. And it'll change the way you live your life. The other type of inner work that is so important and probably one of the hardest is trigger management. To really be able to understand what boils your blood and no longer reacting, but responding with intention and clarity and the right mind. Not just letting things get to you, not just overreacting to every little thing because a button was pushed. Why, when somebody says something, you take it so personally? It bugs you so much. The endless loop playing in your mind about it. Why does that happen? You have to ask yourself, why does this particular thing bug me so much? Why does it make me sad? Knowing it wasn't that big of a deal. Knowing the person didn't mean to say it the way they did. Knowing that nothing's wrong, but yet you're so rattled about something. Because when our triggers go unchecked, we may reject people that are actually good for us. We may miss opportunities in life. We choose differently. You may misunderstand so many things. So really understanding your reactions to things and where they come from. Because it's not about just managing your triggers by force. When you have intel and understanding about something, it's power. Knowledge is power at the end of the day. And so you can use that knowledge to respond differently. And the goal is peace within you. And so when you stop reacting in such a way, you win. You don't win from reacting and cutting somebody down with your words. No, you win when you receive it differently. And in turn, you don't allow yourself to put out the energy, or you're not compromising your peace when something triggers you. That's when you take your power back. So it's not until you dissect things and really took a look at them and understand them that you heal. That you're able to take the armor off, peel back layers, and feel lighter going throughout life. And this ties into inner child work, and this ties into energy work, because you're no longer oblivious to what's going on in your system. You're no longer oblivious to what happened in your childhood that causes such a distress in your body when something triggers you. And you no longer turn a blind eye to the traumas and things you've been through. Because a lot of our triggers stem from that. Because a lot of the times we may think something's wrong with us, why things are bugging us so much. But it's just a matter of you not understanding it properly. The next type of inner work that is so important to do is to really understand how you operate energetically. And this requires for you to have a mind-body connection and not living separately from your mind. And what I mean by that is that you are aware of your emotions and your feelings. It's about understanding what feels good inside your body and what doesn't feel good. But if you're still operating unconsciously and just doing what's familiar, you'll never drop the behaviors and patterns and habits that are not good for you. And the thing is that you don't even realize how much it affects your nervous system, how much of your peace that it robs. For example, growing up with a lot of dysfunction, you may seek out friendships and relationships and situations that feel familiar and comfortable for you, that carry that same sort of dysfunctional energy, because that's what you're used to. You'll accept that jealous friend. You'll still be dating that person that is unsure about you. You'll still indulge in things that are holding your life back, not knowing how detrimental it is. That's what happens when you don't live prioritizing how you feel. Because we do a lot of things we're supposed to do, and we ignore how it makes us feel. So having a connection with your energy body is key. That's how you distinguish what's aligned with your truth. And you're no longer do things just because. This also has to do with self-soothing. Because as we go on our journey of life, we always go to things that make us feel calm, that regulate our nervous system. But sometimes that goes to extremes and we end up numbing ourselves. That's because our nervous systems are out of whack. And that's because you're putting yourself in situations and around people that are sources of stress for us and don't uplift us and make us feel good. Because once you make decisions and once you move through life, and the criteria is, does it make me feel good inside? That's when your life changes. That's when your nervous system calms down without force or without numbing. And that's how you truly start to differentiate what's good for you and what's not. You'll vibrate out of things that are no longer aligned with you. And no longer accepting the bullshit that never felt good and never will feel good. And breaking free. That's where people-pleasing stops. I mean, I was a serial people-pleaser. Just because I don't know what they may think, what they may say. Killing myself inside. Walking on eggshells. Doing things just to be liked, just to be accepted, just to not be difficult. So all of that stops when you start to honor your energy and no longer accept the bullshit that isn't right for you. Because you took the time and got to know yourself to a point and established a relationship with yourself that is so strong that nobody can tell you anything. It's the job of us as divine feminines to take a look at our shadows, at our wounds, at our patterns, our behaviors, so we can be more in our feminine energy and not in survival mode and not constantly in our masculine energy, because that's what we know, because that's what we've used to survive. That's when softness comes into the picture. And you step into another version of yourself that feels more like you. So as hard as it is, give yourself that gift and watch your life change. I hope you enjoyed this video. I would love to hear from you in the comments and let me know what was the type of inner work that was most helpful for you on your journey. I'm sure that would be so helpful for other people. I look forward to our next chat. Thank you for all your love and support. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.